Yo, what is going on, YouTube? I am Germ here. So we are getting ready to kick off another week in the LCS. I think we have like 3 weeks left of the regular season, which is cool, which is exciting, but I'm really not a huge fan of the LCS and LEC regular seasons. I like the storylines. I like that there is games all weekend long, and I love just watching the games and stuff, but like, I'm a League of Legends fan because of the playoffs, because of the international tournaments, because of games that have a heck of a lot more riding on them than LCS regular season games when 8 teams out of 10 make the playoffs. Like, this is not, what my whole year is built around or anything like that. So I'm hoping these 3 weeks go quick. I'm hoping we can get to the playoffs. I'm hoping we can get to some games that really, really matter, some best of fives, the bread and butter of competitive League of Legends. But headed down into the final stretch of the regular season, some teams are looking good. Some teams are looking not so good. We definitely have some good and some really bad news for some of these teams. And so far, for Team Liquid, 2022 has definitely not gone how they would have hoped or how they would have expected. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So this is the interview we're going to be going over. This is from John Popko at Invin Global. This says, EG Peter Dunn, this is Worlds in North America. For orgs, this is a very, very high pressure situation. And this is really something that I think's kind of gone overlooked. And I think I'm guilty myself of overlooking this a little bit. So I love that Peter Dunn is bringing up this point. And he's bringing up this point for a reason. Because as he goes on to say in this interview, and we'll get into it, he says he can feel it. He can see it with his own 2 eyes. There are orgs that are feeling this pressure of a Worlds in North America. Obviously, Worlds in North America sounds awesome. Sounds like a dream. Sounds great for a lot of the players, teams, fans, everybody. That's awesome. But when you only have 3 teams going to Worlds, and this year we have 3, 4, 5 decent teams that all have a shot at going, that means at least 1 or 2 of them are not going to be going. So let's get into this interview a little bit. They talk about how EG has been doing incredible. What do you think has allowed you to keep up this momentum? G2 and RNG have kind of struggled after MSI. Peter Dunn says for EG, we didn't push too hard after MSI. Yes, we went 8-1, but we only went, full intensity against Team Liquid and CLG, because CLG, they wanted to get their revenge win, and Team Liquid is like their biggest rival at this point. He asked, what the problem for the other MSI representatives has been. He said for RNG, he thinks it's a bad patch for them. It's a bad meta. And for G2, he thinks they've had a bad meta read. They probably took a break after MSI, and, we're kind of late getting back into the patch, getting back into the game, all that stuff. Not anything super concerning. G2 looked good yesterday. I think they are ultimately going to be all right. He asked what his philosophy is. Have you instructed the players to not have high intensity or anything like that? And he says, we just have really good team atmosphere. They all get along. They have great chemistry. In terms of the staff, we've been doing what we can to take a little bit of load off the players, so that's awesome. The other thing is they do a lot of team building. We haven't really been pushing ourselves much this season, but I'm sure that's going to ramp up into the playoffs, and again, as they get ready to head to Worlds, which seems like is hopefully a lock for EG at this point. I mean, we take a look at I thought I had the LCS standings right here. Take a look at the LCS standings. Obviously, EG, they're in first place. They're 9-2. Again, you just got to get top 3. Finishing first in the regular season or being first in the regular season with 3 weeks left to play doesn't ensure that you're going to Worlds, but you're in a pretty damn good spot. And then they ask, what's your perspective on how much better EG seems to be relative to the rest of the LCS? Obviously, it's great that EG is doing so well, but are you worried about your guys' competition relative to the rest of the league? And he said, hey, firstly, we're not in the playoffs yet, so let's see how that goes. Let's see how playoffs goes. Like I said, best of ones, regular season, very, very different than best of fives and playoffs, where the games start to matter a lot more. And then he also, this is where it starts to get juicy. This is the main stuff I want to talk about. But also, it's important to recognize that this Worlds is in North America this year. It's been a while since we've had Worlds in North America. I don't know exactly how many years, but it seems like it's been at least 4 or 5 years since we've been back in NA. Maybe it doesn't matter as much for players or staff, but for orgs, this is a very, very high pressure situation. I'm not going to name particular teams or people. You can imagine that if certain orgs don't go to Worlds this year, what that would mean. And what exactly does Peter Dunn mean by this? We can't know for sure. We can only make assumptions. We can only read into it. That's what I enjoy doing. That's what we like doing here. We try to have these discussions. Part of what Peter Dunn is talking about, at least in my opinion, is the fact that World is going to be in North America, and all these teams, a lot of them are losing money. Most of them are losing money. Maybe all of the LCS teams are losing money at this point. Who really knows? But these teams have investors, they have sponsors that give them money, and those investors and sponsors are looking for something in return. Some of them are just saying, hey, we believe in the LCS going forward in the future. Just hopefully the LCS keeps growing. Hopefully viewership pops off. Hopefully we can make money 5, 10, 50 years from now. Who knows? Some of these guys want a more immediate return on investment. A lot of these guys are sponsoring these teams so that they can have eyeballs on them, large numbers of eyeballs, so they can sell their products, so they can make money, so they can see a return on their investment. And they all know that Worlds is coming to North America this year. And if they're getting involved with a TSM, a Cloud9, a Team Liquid, whatever, historically all very, very good North American teams, historically teams that go to Worlds more often than not, they're probably expecting, especially when Worlds is in North America, that they are going to be at those World Championships, that they are not only getting to sponsor an LCS team, but they're going to sponsor an LCS team that's going to Worlds. They're going to get to have their team and their logo and branding and sponsorships and everything shown to the world, international broadcast, all that stuff, but also shown to all the North American fans that end up coming to the events. These events are going to be sold out, packed arenas, massive, massive arenas in the United States, full of North American fans, full of North American viewers. Also, the schedule is going to be great for North American fans. You know how when Worlds is in Korea or China or whatever, we got to wake up at 3 a.m. to watch the games? Like, no, we're going to get, hopefully, at least I assume, some prime time North American events, which means more North American viewers in person and online. And that's what these sponsors are for. The sponsors are going for those home runs, those big jumps. The investors, they want those home runs, those big jumps. Obviously, so much success in competitive League of Legends is based on going to international tournaments and how you do, but also your sponsors, that's where the big money, the eyeballs, the growth and all that stuff is. And having a good showing at an international tournament can get you so many more fans, can get you so much more screen time, all of these things. And who is Peter Dunn talking about when he says this stuff? He says, hey, I'm not going to name names, but you can assume what teams I'm talking about. You can assume, what people I'm talking about when people are feeling this pressure. He says that pressure naturally filters down towards staff and towards players. It feels very tense this year. The amount that everyone is acutely aware of what's at stake. And I think that this is maybe having a bit of a knock-on effect in the region. For EG, I don't think it's affecting us very much, but it's very, very obviously affecting certain other teams. So it's not affecting EG for a couple of reasons. One, EG isn't one of this big historical brands. EG is not a team that is known for going to Worlds every single year. EG sponsors coming into 2022 weren't sponsoring EG because they were demanding an LCS title this year and a Worlds appearance and an MSI appearance. Like, no, EG being great this year is icing on the cake for everyone involved with Evil Geniuses. But that's not the case for some other teams. Again, look at TSM, FTX, all this. They have a lot of big sponsorships, a lot of big money. And TSM was one game away from going to Worlds last year. I don't think TSM sponsors expected TSM to be last place or towards the bottom of the standings in both splits. I don't think they expected them to not even make playoffs in either split or come close to not making not making playoffs in either split. But I don't think he's talking about TSM. TSM has some really good relationships with sponsors. Seems like they're doing okay money-wise. They're not really hemorrhaging or anything like that. 100 Thieves, again, not really a big legacy org. Yeah, 100 Thieves is probably expected to go to Worlds, probably should go to Worlds, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. If they don't, it would really suck and it would be a failure, but I don't think the pressure's on that terribly. Cloud9, you're kind of starting to get into the area of pressure and expectations and all that stuff, but Cloud9 is an org that, they've gone to Worlds so much, they've had so much success. They've been the best performing international team. Even if they don't do it this year, it's been a crazy year where they had to fire LS. They brought in a new team for summer. I don't think the expectations are like sky high. I don't think the pressure should absolutely be on this roster and team. Again, this is a team that if Cloud9 goes to Worlds in North America, it's going to be insane. Cloud9 has an insane fan base. They show up to events. They show out to events. It's honestly impressive. And so is the pressure really there that much? No, I think Peter Dunn is clearly talking about Team Liquid. This has been the biggest spending team in the LCS. This has been a team who has been going to Worlds, and they've been so close at Worlds a couple of times. They've lost in tiebreakers. They've won 3 games and not gotten out of groups. They haven't won a title in a couple of splits now, but they keep spending insane amounts of money. They're spending millions and millions and millions of dollars a year on players, infrastructure, org, staffing, all that stuff. And they keep falling just short. And not even falling just short. They're not even getting out of groups, but they keep falling just short of getting out of groups. Obviously, with the amount of money that's been thrown in this team, you'd expect more than getting out of groups. But if we look at Team Liquid right now, they are 7-4. They are third place. They're tied with FlyQuest, and they are one game up on Cloud9, and Cloud9 has not even had their starting roster the whole season. They're also just a game up on CLG, which that is embarrassing if you are Team Liquid. And also, if we go back, we can see that Team Liquid started the season 3-0. They beat Immortals, they beat Dignitas, and then they beat Cloud9. Again, not Cloud9's full team. So they got 3 wins. Started out 3-0 against 3 of the weakest rosters in the LCS. Since then, again, Team Liquid right now is 7-4. So since then, since week 1, Team Liquid is a 500 team. 4 wins, 4 losses. If you don't count, and like obviously, if you don't count their wins, they have a bad record. But like, hey, that first week was a really, really soft first week. And since then, Team Liquid is a 500 team. They have a very mid to below, like if you look at where they are right now in the standings, they would be lower. Their record is probably looks better than it actually is right now. So is Team Liquid feeling the pressure? Obviously, they have insanely talented players. They have an amazing player at every single position. They have a good coaching staff. They have good infrastructure. They have money. They have resources. They have everything. But the expectations are sky high. This team, they spend to win. They are built to win. They didn't win in spring. They came up short. They didn't even make finals. They got third. And now the LCS is stronger in summer. FlyQuest is better. CLG is better. Cloud9 is better. EG is still strong. 100 Thieves is still strong. And TL, again, they're 4-4 in their last 8 games. And I know Santorin came out and he's like, hey, well, we'd rather go 9-9 than 18-0. Then you can learn more from your losses and everything. And hey, EG went 9-9 in spring and they won. Okay, well, EG is a young team. They're a team that was ramping up. They're a team that was also pub stomping scrims and just not really able to get it on a stage. You're a team of veterans. You should be able to show up and win regular season games. You guys shouldn't have as much to learn as a CLG or a Cloud9 or a FlyQuest at this point. So I'm definitely concerned for TL. And I just thought it was very, very interesting that Peter Dunn brought up this angle because this is something that I hadn't really thought of a ton, but it seems like he's thought about, and I don't think a lot of other people have thought about either. And obviously, Peter Dunn, super insightful, super smart, super intelligent guy. And the fact that, again, if he's saying this must be something that he really feels, that he really sees going on behind the scenes. And maybe it explains a little bit of why Team Liquid has been so weirdly bad, but also maybe it explains the pressure that Team Liquid is going to be on over the next couple of months. Again, we have 3 weeks left of the regular season, couple weeks playoffs, all that. Next month and a half, 2 months, there's going to be some crazy pressure on TL. And again, if they spend all of this money on this roster, bring in Bwipo, Hansama, Bjergsen, Worlds is in North America, those sponsors, those investors, they're going to come knocking and be like, hey, we're going to be at Worlds in North America, right? Right? I don't know, but that's pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate that so much. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think about anything we talked about in this video today. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe, stay up to date on my latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.